For me, my interactions with Modi ji have been really phenomenal. For me, the first time, of course, we all knew him as a leader, but for me to get a letter from him post the All England victory was something phenomenal. This was more in 2003 when I got this letter. He was still in Gujarat, and I received a few letters from many dignitaries, Prime Minister, President, but these were more congratulatory notes which were very generic in nature. But his letter was different. There in it, he had mentioned about how my win not only inspired people, but also he related an incident where it was about me rejecting a cola company. And that incident was something which remained with me because everybody else had sent very generic remarks, and he actually had gone a little deeper, and that made me feel very, very good because he spoke about Indianness and pride of India, and that remained as a big thing for me. Around 15 April, I kind of had something which I felt really strongly about. Why sport for everybody is a very important thing, and physical literacy as a movement should be started. And in my experience in sport, I just felt sport was deviating or moving a lot towards medals and victories and those, but actually it was losing the very essence of what it was meant to be. And I felt somehow, I don't know why, but I felt if I tell it to him, he will feel connected, or he will feel, or he could do something about it, because I knew that this was a big issue and I wanted the biggest person to hear it, or the person who can make a difference to hear it. So I all prepared, went, I'm not the laptop kind of a person, so I made a presentation, went and seeked his appointment. He said, done. His office calls up and says, you can come to the Parliament House and you have a meeting arranged with the Honorable Prime Minister. And this was like they had scheduled 11 o'clock. I didn't know for how much time it was scheduled, but then when I went there, I realized that it was about 7.5 minutes before the next meeting was scheduled. I went in there and then I started talking, and I remember a couple of my friends who were preparing me for this, he says, if you go there and speak, you would probably need to speak for about 5 to 6 minutes, because after that you will have to be ready, because nobody is going to listen to you so long. And then I go into this meeting. First he makes you feel so warm, asked me to pose for a photograph because the social media team was there. So pose for the photograph, I'm sitting, and then he says, Bolo Gopi kya hai? And then I started talking. And then I spoke actually for 9 minutes. And I was shocked, because I don't think I have spoken continuously like this to any one-on-one person for so long. Because many people talk about him being a great orator. I think he's even a bigger, better listener, because that's a point which actually people miss out. He's somebody who didn't interrupt me at all for 9 minutes. And in this at around 7.5 minutes, the door opened. He just glanced to his watch, and his hands are also like this, and he just glanced to his watch, and then he nodded and the person went off, and then we continued that till about 15 minutes. So I think one of the most striking qualities you realize is his ability to listen and his warmth. I think that was first time on a one-on-one interaction I realized that this is something which was phenomenal. Then I had something, he took his pen out, his small notepad out, and he wrote something. And then that was it. I came off. And then it was amazing, because it was 8 Man Ki Baats back to back. He spoke about sport for all. as a big thing. And when you look at government policies, whether it's Kelo Indias or Fit Indias or Yoga Day, they all revolve around sport for all. I think if you say something, it makes a difference. And he knows how to make the difference is something which I realized today more than then, because I would never think that the Prime Minister with his kind of problems would actually have so much of time and detail to actually figure this out. I remember this time when I won the International Olympic Award for being the coach of the year, I asked him for a permission to meet him. And I asked him, because I just received it at 3 o'clock, and I asked the office, is it even possible to meet sir, and I can come any other time? I'm in Delhi, but I can come again on an appropriate time and date whenever you want. And Thak, I get this sir said 9 o'clock in the morning, you can come. And I was shocked because he was traveling, he was on that long tour abroad for 7 days and 7 countries, and then he was landing back at 4 a.m. And I said, is it okay? And they said, no, 9 o'clock sir is going to meet you. And then at 9 he is there. In between he landed, he had a wash, he went to Arun Jaitley's family, and because Jaitley ji had passed away, and then he comes back at 9. And normally you would expect somebody who's super tired, and here he was fresh as an apple. He was like glowing, and I was shocked that somebody could ever be like that. And then he spent the 15 minutes, 10 minutes, and you almost feel guilty whenever, and this is not once, but every time I meet him, I almost feel the same way, that you are in a hurry, you have 10 things to do, your mind is the one which is roaming around, but he is sitting there almost telling you that I have no other work but to listen to you. And I think that quality is amazing, because he makes you feel as though you're super important. You have no other work other than actually being with him or being with you. I think that quality, is something unbelievable. It is almost like sage-like to be where he is, because he travels countries, he goes out there. I'm sure he's not rested any of the time. I don't know what he's eaten, nothing. And he comes to that meeting and he has 100 other pressing things, but then the 10 minutes he's spending with you, he almost makes you feel as though you're the most important one, and he is the one who has actually no other. And I remember this time when we went for one of the first functions, and the typical tendency is that the most of the officials are sitting in the chairs and then the players are standing, and then you could see on his face that he didn't like what was happening. So immediately he figured out a way, and then quickly he went and made it a point that each of the player he met personally. And I think that is something which is amazing. I think I can keep talking about each and every instance, but for me, although in a crowd he's there, the people whom he knows, he connects.